in it. I am happy today, by God's grace. Amen. I am still here, and I'm rejoicing for the fact that God has spared my life so many times. Listen, I want to briefly minister to you uh, for a brief moment. If you don't mind lending me your attention, I want to talk about some things that are happening in the world today. If you have been careful to observe the current news that has happened and is happening, how we are at war with Iran and many other things that are taking place. We are actually experiencing uh, biblical prophecy. Uh, Biblical prophecy is being uh, fulfilled right now, even as we speak. And it's going by so fast, so fast. Things are happening in the realm of the spirit, and things are taking place. I want to show you and help you to guide you over these next periods of time. I want to teach you how to become what I believe the Lord would want us to become, and that's becoming a watchman. A watchman. So you might say, what is a watchman? What is a watchman? You may have heard that term before. What is a watchman? A watchman is an observer of times, an observer of times. A watchman is someone who is spiritually alert. They can discern the times. They can discern the seasons that they're living in. These are not just ordinary Christians. There's many Christians who are just skimming the surface, so to speak, in their Christian walk of faith. But a watchman is someone who has dove deeper into the things of God. They have a prophetic undertone about themselves, and they desire something more than just going to church, sing songs, and pray and go home. So these people have developed a deep intimacy with God. A watchman is someone who has grown spiritually to discern the times and the seasons that they're living in. They understand the Father's will at that given moment. And, you know, because of what's going on in this world today, it's vitally important that you become a watchman. It's extremely important. In fact, it's so important that Jesus said this. He says, watch and pray. He told his three disciples to watch and pray. And what I find interesting is that many Christians pray, few Christians watch. Many Christians pray, few Christians don't know how to watch. They think that it's something physically or naturally. No, watching is not physical. Even though in the Bible, to keep it in the context, at the time when Christ spoke to Peter, James, and John to watch and to pray, is because he was about ready to be betrayed. And he wanted them to watch and to protect him while he would go and pray. But spiritually, the context simply means for you to be spiritually alert, for you to be alert in spirit because of the days and times that we are living in now is very crucial because of things that are taking place. So becoming a watchman, to becoming a person who not only prays, but they watch and they pray. Because prayer is you talking to God. That's what prayer is. But watching is listening to God. Many Christians pray. They tell God all of their problems, their issues, with their situations, everything they're going through, and then they close the prayer in Jesus' name, and then they get up and go to work or go to sleep. And they don't listen to what God has to say, as if God has no say so in the matter whatsoever. But when you are watching, you are listening to God, you are meditating. Meditation is watching. When you begin to meditate, they haven't taught us this in the Christian church. It's meditation is like something that pastors do not even discuss or talk about. They'll emphasize and they'll talk about prayer, but when it comes to meditation, it's almost like it's a thing that only other religions do, Hinduisms and Buddhists. But meditating is watching. Meditating. See, the Jews knew this very well. They understood the importance of meditating. In fact, they knew it so well, they wrote it in the first book of Psalms. It says, meditate in the law day and night. In fact, the Jews, they meditated more than they prayed. They meditated day and night. So meditating is watching. Meditating is listening to what God has to say to you. That's becoming a watchman. That's becoming spiritually alert to be able to listen and to hear what God is saying to you after you finish praying. Because God has something to say, but he needs your attention. He needs your undivided attention. It's hard for God to communicate to you when you are being distracted by things like cell phones and social media and text messagings and email and work. But when you are meditating, you are quieting down your soul. You are putting your spirit and your soul in a place where now you're able to hear what the Spirit of God is saying to you. And that's where your answer is going to come from. That's where your solutions to your problems are going to be found. That's where the answers of your questions are going to be found when you learn how to meditate, when you learn how to watch and not do a lot of praying, but being a watcher and meditating and listening to what God has to say to you. In fact, Jesus says he's coming back as a thief in the night. And he said to watch. Watch. In other words, be spiritually alert. Be a person that you can discern the seasons and the times that we are living in. Not being distracted by the cares of this life, not being falling into temptation, not being being in a posture, in a position where you can discern the voice of God speaking to you. You can discern the impressions of the Holy Ghost upon your heart. You can discern when God is communicating to you. That's a watchman. That's a person who knows how to watch and pray. They understand the importance of meditating. They understand the importance of being an observer of seasons and times. They understand what the Father's will is at that given day, at that moment. A lot of people don't. I ask preachers and pastors, what is the Lord saying? Some of them have no idea. They just say something from the Bible. No, what is God saying now? I need a word now for this situation. I need God to speak to me about this matter that I'm dealing with today, because that's what being a watchman is. It's prophetic. It's something that you can discern to say, I have a situation that I'm dealing with today, and I need a right now word for that situation as to what to do, how to do it, when to do it, and who to do it with, if that's matter, from God. So I want you to develop, child of God, to become a watchman, to become a watcher in the spirit, to develop the art of listening to God and not talking. People who like to talk, this is a very big challenge for them. because some people just love to hear themselves talk just to be talking. So if you are a talkative person, you're going to have to exercise self-control. You're going to have to allow the Spirit to develop the fruit of self-control in your life, to sit there and just listen and don't do nothing. Turn the cell phone off, turn the television off, go into your room, shut the door, and open up the closet door and sit there and listen to what God has to say to you. Because people got so much distractions going on, and the social media has just lost its mind, where everything and anything is just being pushed and thrown into your spirit. This is why you got to watch what you see on social media these days. You've got to watch what's being played before you in reels, because these things are going into your subconscious mind, whether you believe it or not, whether you accept it or not. It's going somewhere into your subconscious mind. You know, it's becoming corrupted. I come from Gen X, so we didn't have social media when we were growing up. We didn't have the technology that is presented to us today. When we wanted to talk to someone, we had two choices. One, go to their house. Two, make a landline telephone call. But now you can see the technology has changed drastically, and we have more high tech things now today. But we didn't have the corruption. We didn't see what we see today on social media. We had limited access to the computer. If you didn't earn enough amount of income, you didn't even have a computer. I didn't grow up with a computer. We grew up with books. We had books. You had to read a book. Anyway, but you have a lot of things, a lot of images that are being presented to you in flashes, and they are the things that the enemy can use to corrupt your subconscious mind. All it takes is just a flash of an image. And when you began to observe that, see what the enemy does, he watches you to see what entices you, what lures you, what attracts you, what image or what video reel you pay attention to, and he finds something in that video reel, that short, that can corrupt you, because you accepted that image, you accepted that video, you downloaded it into your subconscious mind, and then finally, once it's in your subconscious mind, it plays itself out in a dream. And this is what's happening to many people these days. They're having dreams. Christians are having these dreams, and they appear to be demonic. They appear that the enemy is in their dream world, which he is. It's not actually happening that way, but it's because what they downloaded in their subconscious mind. It's what they've watched and what they've intaked in during the day. So becoming a watchman, you've got to really practice on what to see and what not to see. See, we as Christians, we can't watch just anything. You've got to protect your eyes. Your eyes are the windows to the soul. You've got to protect these days of what you see and what you watch, because whatever you see and what you watch is going into your subconscious mind. It's going to be downloaded into your subconsciousness. So as a watchman, as I'm praying, as I'm watching, I'm listening to what God would say for my personal life and for other people's personal life. I'm not always praying and doing all the talking in my prayer. I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm meditating. You know, I practiced and developed the art and the skill of simply to do nothing. See, do nothing. That's hard for some people because people have a lot going on in their life. They can't get to a place of solitary. They can't get to a place where they can just sit and do nothing. They always have got to been doing something. But if I challenge you today, if you ever get to a place where you can just meditate for long periods of time, you will have an encounter. If you can meditate, if you can practice the skill of meditation on a daily basis, you will listen and you will hear and see what God has to say to you. In fact, it's recorded in the book of Habakkuk, where Habakkuk the prophet wanted to hear what God wanted to say. Excuse me, he wanted to see what God wanted to say. So Habakkuk was a seeing prophet. He wanted to see what God wanted to say. So he said, I will set myself upon the tower and I will watch to see what he will say to me. Do you want to become a watchman? Do you want to develop the ability to be able to see and hear what God is saying to you? Or do you just want to continue going on and have church? And I tell people all the time, this plan of salvation is much, much bigger than a building. It's much, much bigger than a service on Sunday morning. The plan of salvation is humongous. And many people will not gravitate toward that. They will simply confine themselves in religious tradition. So I want you to become a watchman. I want you to develop the skill of meditating in prayer. I want you to begin to practice listening to hear God, because God wants to say something to you. In fact, the realm of the spirit is always talking. I mean, people are having all kinds of encounters these days, both saved and unsaved. People are having visitations from not only demons, but also angels these days. Because in the realm of the spirit, they're always wanting to communicate to humans, always wanting to communicate to humanity. The issue is people do not know how the realm of the spirit, namely angels, how they communicate. They can't interpret that. Two different dimensions, two different worlds. So when the spirit world begins to communicate with the natural world, the carnal mind cannot receive the things of the spirit of man, of the spirit of God. So you have this natural mindset that it can't perceive it can't discern it can't understand it. And this is why people struggle with dreams. They struggle with visions. They know God is saying something to them. They know they're having these encounters and these spiritual encounters, but they don't understand what is being spoken to them, because there's a language in the spirit that many people do not understand. There's codes in the spirit that many people are not being taught, and it's not being taught in the church. Pastors are not teaching you this. Some know this and deliberately withhold that information from you, but many pastors and preachers do not know the language of the spirit themselves. So they cannot teach you something they do not know. But there's a language in which angels speak. Paul talks about it. He says, though I speak with tongues of men and tongues of angels. There's a language that God speaks in. If you do not know the language on how God speaks to you, you will be a foreigner and you will miss it every single time. I promise you. I promise you that. People are being delayed because they don't understand. In other words, God continues to communicate to them through dreams. God communicates to them through visions, but they can't interpret it. And if they do interpret it, it's wrong. Because some people look at things in the realm of the spirit as a dream, for example, and then they try to interpret it according to, let me give you a good example. People say they dream of money. I've had people come to me and say, I've dreamt of money and I believe God's going to send me money. and and weeks go by and months go by and money, because money don't mean money in the realm of the spirit. Money mean wisdom in the realm of the spirit. Money mean knowledge in the in the realm of the spirit. It don't mean currency. And that's just one example that people, Christians rather, misinterpret these dreams that they're having. And I know they're having them. People come to all the time and say, I'm having dreams, I'm having visions. What is God saying to me? And I am conducting services and I'm conducting courses on to teach you how to listen and hear from God and how to interpret the dream, how to interpret the vision, because it's not what you think it is. It's not. The devil, they say, oh, the devil came and attacked me in my dream last night. And I say, what did you dream about? And they said they saw a snake and it was just, trying to attack them. And I tell them the devil cannot give you a dream. He can hijack your dream. He can infiltrate your dream, but he can't give you a dream. And so they say, well, what is it? Well, most of the time that people have these dreams that they appear that the devil is doing something to them, it is God actually warning you or letting you know what the devil wants to do to you. So when you have a dream that you feel like the enemy is trying to kill you, and you think the enemy is trying to kill you, well, yes, he wants to kill, steal, and destroy, but it's not the devil that gave it. See, Satan has a plan for your life too. So some people say, a lot of people who are ex-alcoholics and ex-addicts, they have these like relapse dreams. They see themselves drinking and smoking again, and then they wake up and they're scared because they think that, oh, I'm getting ready to relapse. Oh, I'm getting ready to go back to smoking and drinking again, and I don't want that type of lifestyle again. What should I do? I said, well, that's God revealing to you on what the enemy wants for you. See, because he has a plan for your life too. It's not Satan. It's not the devil. Okay? So Satan cannot access your dream, or he cannot give you a dream, but he can hijack it. And a lot of times people get hijacked in their dream is because of what they're seeing, what they observe, what's been trapped in their imagination. Because see, we see and observe things all the time through the course of the day. And these images are downloaded into our spirit man, and then they erupt at nighttime and form a dream. So when I teach people on how to become a watchman or a watcher in the spirit, you got to protect your eyes. You can't look at every single thing and be a watcher. You can't watch every program. You can't watch every reel. You can't watch every video and be a watchman. You have got to protect your eyes these days, because Satan is launched an attack through this cell phone. Let us not be ignorant of Satan's devices. And he's trying to infiltrate and corrupt your system, your spirit system. And the only way he can do that is because of what you intake in it. Christians should not be watching horror movies. I tell you right off the bat, there is no reason why Christians should watch horror films. This is exactly the stuff that we're fighting against. And yet you're going to digest this thinking that it's just a movie. It's not just a movie, it's demons. And then they go to bed at night and then they have a horror, the dream of horror. Well, what would you put in your spirit, man? See? What did you digest during the day? What did you watch during the day? What did you pay attention to? What was your focus? And now devils begin to observe what interests you. See, devils begin to observe what interests you, even online. See, these algorithms, whatever you focus on, it's going to keep repeating it back to you. So if you like that kind of reel and that kind of short, algorithms is going, they can discern, they'll put it right back to you all single time. And now you keep seeing the same thing over and over and over again. See, all of this stuff is high tech given by angels. There is nothing new. Man is not creating AI. These are fallen angels doing this, giving the information, giving the knowledge. Daniel said, knowledge shall increase. What was he talking about? He's talking about the systems that we have today. These are angels, people. This is not man's knowledge. These are these fallen angels that have fell from the earth, that are corrupting human society okay, through the modern technology that we have. And eventually it's going to backfire. It has to. It's already been prophesied that all of this has to get shut down and collapse one day in order for the kingdom of God to arise and to appear. So this is all Satan's system, and his system to set up this system where now they are observing us. See, they're watching you. The question is, are you watching them? Because they're watching us. Now, God says you have got to get to a place in your walk of faith to be a watchman so that you can now watch them and not just they watch you. Because the more as time goes on, the less freedom we're going to have to be an observer, to be a watchman. As time goes on, our resources that we have to watch will be limited, and it only will be confined to them watching us, and we will not be able to watch them. So you've got to be a watcher because they're watching you. They're watching us. So we got to watch them back. We've got to watch them back, and we've got to watch what angels are doing, because angels are doing the work of God. See, God the Father, he does one thing and one thing only. He sits on a throne. He's been sitting on a throne for aeons of eternity. He doesn't move. He issues commands. He gives decrees. He executes judgments. He does everything through angels. So angels are doing all the work. God sits there. He's in a class all by himself. He doesn't move. He sits on a chair. So these angels that are doing the work of God, the deliverance, the healing, the salvation, everything that God is doing is done through angels and through the Spirit of God that's here upon the earth. So will you become a watchman? Will you watch today? Will you observe? Be observant of your surroundings. Watch where you are going. Watch who you are talking to. Watch what type of information is being given to you. Watch what information that you are giving out. Be very particular on who you talk to, who you communicate information to, because our enemy can only gather the information that he gets. He's not like God. He's not all-knowing. So he needs to gather and he needs to collect information in order to launch his attack. He needs to gather information by monitoring spirits in order to hold you captive, in order to confine you, in order to slow your progress down, in order to limit you. So you got to watch. You've got to become a watchman. Everyone who will not enter into this next level of becoming a watchman, they're going to be left behind. I can tell you that. When this door closes, this door that I see in the realm of the spirit that's slowly closing, once this door closes, everyone on the outside of the door will be totally obsolete. Only those who are inside will be protected and have access, but the ones who are outside, you will be deleted from the system. They've already got it in place, ladies and gentlemen. It's already put in place, this new system that they're getting ready to introduce to the entire world, and it's the closing of a door. In other words, there's going to be a time shortly when people will no longer have access to things they have access now. There will come a time where people will not have the resources available to them that they have now, because they want to eliminate a certain class of people. They want to make that class of people obsolete and wipe them off the face of this earth. This is why you got to become a watchman. This is why you've got to get down in your walk of faith, that you're going to be able to have to hear God for yourself. You cannot depend on pastor, man of God, prophet, apostle, bishop anymore. You have got to develop the skill to be able to hear God for yourself, because it's going to get that critical. It's going to get that crucial for you. Because when famine hits America, and it's coming, and when I mean famine, I'm talking about famine we've never seen before. See, COVID-19 was just a drive-by. That was just a test to see how Americans are going to react and how the world is going to react. But they studied, and they got a lot of information from that last pandemic that we had. But they did not reach their goal was to shut down the system, and they did, but they wanted to shut it down to the point that it wouldn't come back up again. They would have to create a new system, but it didn't work. But anyways, so when this door closes and you're not a watchman, you will be outside of that door. And just like they have the delete key on the keyboard, you are going to be deleted. You are going to be deleted. You are going to be obsolete. Many people will be obsolete. Many people will be homeless. Many people will be jobless. Many people will have no income. Many people will be poor. Many people will resort to drugs and alcohol and whatever means to survive once the door closes. And we can see it closing, right? I can see it closing. My battery's running down. So you got to become a prayer watcher now. You've got to meditate. You've got to be able to hear God for yourself, because these systems that they're getting ready, it's going to implode. It's going to collapse because they're trying to create this new system, and they will be successful because the Bible has already prophesied that it will happen in so many words in the book of Revelations. Okay? Now, after your meditation, expect an encounter. Expect an encounter. People who are watchers of the spirit world, they had encounters. They've had encounters before, and some they don't understand what took place, but they knew this was more than just a dream. This was more than just something that happened during the night. And a lot of these encounters take place at nighttime when you're asleep. And you think it's a dream. You think it's just a dream. It is not. You had an encounter. And it left you where you did not understand or could interpret what took place. And you need someone to interpret it for you. If that's you, contact me. Please reach out to me. Because people are having these encounters at night. They're having these spiritual beings come to them at night, and they do not know what to do. If that is you, please get in touch with me or get in touch with someone who is on the same topic that I'm talking about and talk to them about it, because these things just don't happen haphazardly. These things are just not happening just because. There's a reason behind these things taking place in many people's lives. There's a reason behind it. And I want you to be informed and to become a watchman and to become a prayer watcher. My time is up. I must go. Thank you for joining this live broadcast. Have a blessed day. Lord willing, by His grace, I will see you again.